As a relative newcomer to online gaming, I'm bombarded every day with choices. Now, I'm not an expert, but I do know what I like. So I'm on a quest to find the best MMOs available, from the very best of the best to the lowest of the lows. Which games will I keep and which will I trash? Well, come with me and find out. Ragnarok Online 2 Legend of the Second is a Korean MMORPG which was recently launched on May 1st, 2013. It's actually a remake of what was meant to be the original sequel, The Gate of the World. However, the original game received such horrible reception that it was completely scrapped and remade. The original Ragnarok Online, which was released in South Korea in 2002, was wildly popular, resulting in not only the sequel but its own animated series, Ragnarok the Animation. I can remember my first years on the internet and how this game was often mentioned favorably everywhere. Unfortunately, I never had a computer powerful enough to run any sort of game other than solitaire, so I never played the original Ragnarok. When I saw there was a sequel, however, I was determined to try it. If this game has a story, it certainly doesn't explain it very well. From what little information I found on the internet, all I can say is that the game is supposedly meant to be based on Norse mythology. But I can't say I noticed that too much. Since I first picked up the game, a second playable race has been added, I believe, called the Knoll or the Noel, I'm not sure. But when I began, there was only one race, which I assumed just meant the world was made up of mostly humans. Anyway, the character designs are pretty decent, the kind of thing you'd expect from a game which is so heavily influenced by the anime style. You are given the choice of 5 classes, as well as 4 jobs from the start, each with its own stylized outfit, which are then replaced by standard clothes before the start of the game. The choices for customization are adequate. You can choose to customize the hair, eyes, face shape, as well as voice. I wouldn't say you have a large amount of choice, but at the same time it's not too limited either.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
As you might have guessed, the appearance of the game is extremely cartoony. From the anime-style character models to the overly adorable monsters, this game is not suitable for anyone who has an allergy to cuteness. The environments are extremely colourful, except for the instances when you find yourself in a dungeon environment. Then things take a slightly darker tone, though not by much. The environments aren't the most incredibly detailed, but they're not bad either. One huge complaint I have is that everything just looks the same at times, and you're almost forced to use the map to figure out where you're headed. At least, that was the case for me. A good point is that despite having my graphics set to a lower setting, the characters and settings still look good. The characters especially retain a very smooth appearance, which I like. The music of RO2 is a very mixed bag for me. Very. At the start, the menu theme is beautiful. At times when I started up the game, I was so tempted just to sit there and listen to the music. It definitely made a great first impression when I first tried the game, and then I actually started playing. Now, the music is not bad, but it's so repetitive. There were times when I wished it would just stop looping and give me some ambient sounds instead. I was playing a certain beta recently where players complained about ambient sounds. But why not? Ambience helps to place you in the game to give you a real feel of the environment, but this music is just so repetitive and annoying at times that I just wanted to tune out. Now, it's not all bad. Eventually, when you make it into a dungeon, you find that the music, thankfully, will change. This music is atmospheric and suits your surroundings, and is not repetitive to the point of annoyance. I actually found it pretty exciting when I first played Virtual. One more thing to note is the level up music. Oh boy. You can hear the music when other people level up as well as your own, and in a beginner's area this is a mess of muddled, noisy trumpets, not nice at all. Now, we've covered pretty much everything I can think of except the most important, gameplay, and this is where Ragnarok Online 2 really takes a dive in my opinion. Quests have become a standard gameplay mechanic in most MMORPGs, and this is fine when it's done well. However, the quests in RO2 are insanely monotonous. Fetch this, kill this, fetch this, kill this. I've played a few other games of this type, but in this instance, the quests just make me glaze over. Literally, I just zone out and click straight through. That's right, everything is so easy and so repetitive that you don't even have to read. You merely have to open up your map screen, follow the cursors, and you're on your way. No level of skill or any real effort is required. And speaking of lack of skill, we have the battles themselves. If you're a lazy gamer, this game will suit you right to the ground. Now, I don't mind a bit of button mashing, but even button mashers often have moments where you have to step back and think of a strategy, which moves to use, when to use support spells, whatever. Here, that isn't the case. My first boss fight is a good example. As you'll see, all I have to do is stand there and shoot. Occasionally you have to heal up, but as a cleric-like character, I shouldn't just be able to stand there and not die. It was just way too easy, and that is saying a lot from someone who prefers exploration over actual fighting in games. Cute graphics will only get a game so far. From the screens I've seen of the original Ragnarok, this game is a far cry from the 2D graphics which made the original game so unique. What we have here is a shell of a game that looks and mostly sounds good with gameplay that is so dumbed down that you quickly lose interest. When I first started to play, I thought this game might be a keeper. Yes, I was swayed by the adorable faces and cutesy fluffy monsters. The dungeon was even a little bit fun, but as a whole, this game is not something I would dedicate a whole lot of my time to. In fact, I actually planned on playing it again for more footage for this review, but every time I thought about it, I just couldn't bring myself to play it over the other games I own. That is why Ragnarok Online 2 has the dishonor of being the first MMO I trash. But don't let that stop you from trying it. Everyone is different, but on this occasion, this game is not for me.